Hello and welcome to the next Avenger research video. Today, I'm actually going to be talking to you about Injective. And to sum up Injective in as few words as possible, it is effectively just a decentralized exchange. Now, you might be thinking, well, there's loads of those around, so why are we really focusing on Injective? But actually, Injective is one of the only decentralized exchanges that has actually really gone and caught my eye, because it is so much more than the standard DEX that you may have encountered. But in this short video, we're going to go over exactly what it is, why it stands out from the crowd, where we are with it, but most importantly, what the price is doing, how the tokenomics are lining up, and for me personally, whether or not I'll be injecting. I will be investing in this project. Without further ado, let's dive in. Okay, so here we are on the main page for Injective, and as you can see here, it is a blockchain built for finance, which is just a fancy way of saying that it is a decentralized exchange. It is a layer 1 blockchain based off the Cosmos ecosystem, but as we'll see, it has so much more to offer in terms of ecosystem and interoperability. And I mean, straight off the bat, and it is an impressive website. I wouldn't say it's particularly user-friendly, but there's definitely an awful lot of information that you can garner from it. What I am interested in is just some of the things you can see right off the bat. You know, we talk about it in all of the research projects. You know, the likes of Pantera are interested in it. Love him or hate him, Mark Cuban is involved within this, similar with Jump and Binance. So it has been backed by some of the biggest in the industry. This project has been around since 2018, so it also has that longevity in crypto terms to it, having been around for a couple of bull runs now. If we have a look at some of the on-chain information, you can actually see that it is an active project. We've had over 387 million on-chain transactions and a block time of 0.8 seconds. The average transaction cost is less than $1 as well. So, you know, for all those people or for all those projects out there are talking about solving the trilemma, we kind of know that this is already being able to do that. And whilst I'm not going to necessarily go into the consensus mechanism, just to say that you can stake on this, so this is a proof of stake work, so we know the more people who stake on it, the more secure it's going to be. What I'm going to do now though is we're going to take a look at this article here from Cryptopolitan, and I think this is a really good summary of exactly what Injective is. It's going to help you just understand it from a very high level point of view, and it highlights to me all of the key attributes that this project has. I will link it and provide it in the group as well. But effectively to say that the background of Injective Protocol, Injective Protocol is the trailblazing decentralized exchange within the crypto ecosystem. As I mentioned, it's been around since 2018, and it was co-founded by Eric Chen and Albert Chin. There's some detail on the backgrounds there. Feel free to have a look at that a little bit later on. As I mentioned before, it has been backed by Pantera Capital, by Binance, by Jump, and also by Mark Cuban. There are a few others out there, but they were the earlier investors, if you will. So what exactly is it? Okay, well, it is a decentralized exchange. And as I mentioned, there's plenty of those around there, whether it's Uniswap, PancakeSwap, whatever it is that you're looking to do. But this actually does step above it. Why did it do that? For me, the key word is interoperability. What does that actually mean, though? Well, Injective has many different arms to it in terms of its DEX. But ultimately, the biggest thing for me that really makes it stand out beyond any other project out there is this: cross-chain margin trading. What does that mean to you? You may be thinking, well, let's take an example. Let's take something like Uniswap. Uniswap is an Ethereum-based project, and you go on Uniswap and you can only use the Ethereum network. Same with the likes of PancakeSwap, same with the likes of Bancor and others that are out there. I think it's OrcaSwap, which is on the Solana network. But what Injective does is, because of its interoperability, because it's based off Cosmos, it has the capability to do cross-margin trading. So you can use different ecosystems on this DEX. Why is that important? Because effectively, you never have to leave the DEX. If you want to use a different ecosystem, it's fine. It's already there for you. You can already trade against it. Some of the other things that it adds, which we don't see on other decentralized exchanges, is Forex futures trading. So it's bringing that traditional market trading capabilities that we haven't seen in other projects, decentralized exchanges at this time. Now, it also has something else which is quite interesting, and that is the order book model. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, if you have a look at things such as PancakeSwap, Uniswap, if we go to DYDX, or if we go to GMX or any of those, they use a liquidity pool model. So what they have is, liquidity is provided and then you can trade off the back of this. But what Injective is doing is an order book model. And that's something that, for any of you that uses centralized exchange, you're very familiar with. But from a decentralized side of it, that is actually an unheard or relatively unheard model to use. But it helps to create, how can I put it? It helps to reduce some of the significant slippage that we sometimes see on standard decentralized exchanges. And that's one of the biggest bugbears for me, because if I am using something like Uniswap, version 2, version 3, doesn't really matter, SushiSwap, whatever, and I go to place an order, there's that little toggle where you have to press how much percentage you're willing to allow slippage before your trade fails. Because it's a liquidity pool, we've got to make sure that there is an opposite side to whatever it is I'm trying to buy. Someone's got to be selling it. And whilst that is exactly the same within the order book model, it's actually stacked up and we can clearly see that. So I understand exactly how far my slippage is before I even press it. I don't just have to give an arbitrary number and just hope I get somewhere in between that. So what we're doing is we're actually getting, it says here in the article, it brings together the efficiencies of conventional finance with the transparency inherent with decentralized exchanges. So we get the method of execution we like on centralized exchanges, but we get that transparency from a decentralized exchange. So it's perfect. And that for me is a big change, because I've never really been a fan of DEXs, because I've never really been afraid enough of a centralized exchange to really want to just move everything I have over to a decentralized exchange, because for me, the slippage issue always wound me up. Whereas if this solves that, then there's an opportunity for me to move over. You marry into that the fact that I never have to worry about, I've got to move over to the Ethereum network, now I want something off the Solana network, or anything like that. It is quite frustrating. It can be, as I say, very restrictive. And just give you an idea of the amount of blockchains that we can operate with. If you actually go to the website, you can explore the ecosystem. We're looking at blockchains. We've got BNB, Cosmos you'd expect, Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, Algorand, Astar, Avalanche. Move over to the next page. Or Chiliz, Phantom, Carver, Near Protocol, Oasis, Moonbeam, Polkadot. And I would argue that if you were looking to trade a token pair, it's going to be on one of the aforementioned blockchains we've just gone through. So again, a really good model that can be used. So let's have a look at some of these key features that do set Injective apart. And I've covered some of them briefly, but let's actually work through this article. So like decentralized network structure with Injective Chain. So the Injective Protocol operates on the foundation of Injective Chain, a fully decentralized sidechain relayer service. This unique structure serves as a layer 2 derivatives platform, a trade execution coordinator, and the decentralized order book. And unlike centralized counterparts, the decentralized network structure eliminates the need for intermediaries, ensuring trustless and secure transactions on the platform. The layer 2 protocol speed and cross-chain compatibility, and we talked about that a little bit earlier, but I think this is the key one for me. Injective Chain's layer 2 protocol is designed for optimal speed and cross-chain compatibility. It enables a two-way peg for Ethereum and ERC20 compatible tokens, facilitating seamless interoperability with major blockchain platforms, the likes of Ethereum and Polkadot, it says here. The integration of an Ethereum virtual machine, EVM as we know them, compatible execution framework ensures robust cross-chain compatibility and liquidity. It's got an advanced decentralized order book, so unlike other exchanges. So Injective Protocol's order book solution is a paradigm shift from the traditional exchange model. It operates a fully decentralized system that matches orders on the Injective sidechain, with transactions settled on-chain in batches. This advanced order book system ensures transparency, security, and efficiency in trading activities. There's a couple of other ones here, but as I mentioned before, the low network latency and gas-free trading. So Injective Layer 2 design minimalizes network congestion and eliminates gas fees, addressing two significant challenges within the DeFi space, especially if you're trading on Ethereum. Users can trade openly without incurring transaction costs. Network latency is kept at a minimum, ensuring a seamless and cost-effective trading experience. So what does it all mean when you move into it? Okay, so once you've sort of worked your way through, and if it is something that you're wanting to do, you find yourself over in the Injective Hub. Now, this is effectively the dashboard in which you can go and have a look at some other things. So we can already see straight off the bat the staking reward. So if you do choose to stake your tokens, you're getting 15.82% APR. Talks about burn rounds, fair enough, and then you can see a quick overview of the price. Now, I've flicked it on to 3 months just to show you that in October this was worth $8. We're now around about $40. The market cap is 3.3 billion, so this is no small project. It's got around about $250 million worth of trading volume every 24 hours, and we've talked about the APY. If you were actually then looking to trade, you would connect your wallet, you'd buy some ING as you would, and you'd end up over at the Helix. Now, this isn't a tutorial to how to go through it. If someone is interested in that, perhaps I can make a video for that for a later date. All to say is that you've got the opportunity here to whether to do the spots or the futures, and you can just work your way through exactly as you would on any other exchanges. It's fairly simple. If we just click on Ethereum, just to show you what the UI looks like, it's fairly standard to the UI that we've experienced. They get the feed from TradingView. You can add indicators, etc., etc., and you can go from there. But as I say, we'll go through that if people want it at a later date. Okay, so what have we got here? So we've got that it's on the Cosmos ecosystem. We've got that the current price is at $39.19, and today is the 27th of December. We've got the founders that we talked about, and then we can get down to the token sales. So this is where some of the interesting stuff is done, because this is all going to build that picture, that understanding of the tokenomics, of the vesting periods, of who owns what, and ultimately how decentralized is this project. So we had a funding round initially. I think that's where we'll start. And the main investors there were Jump Crypto, which we talked about, and BH Digital. That was announced in 2022, and it raised around about 40 million. There was also an IEO, which is an initial exchange offering, which ended in 2020. They put it out at the price of 40 cents, and they raised just under, or sorry, shall we say, just over 3.5 million, and that was done on Binance. Now you can click on this and get a bit more detail if you want, but anyway, that's where we are with that. But let's have a look at some of the other tokenomics, or the other things. Let's look at. So the market cap I've already mentioned is 3.3 billion. A fully diluted market cap would then be just under $4 billion. The 24-hour trading volume on this is actually 204. Circulating supply. So there are 100 million Injective tokens in, well, will be in supply. The circulating supply itself is around about 84.2 million. Sorry, I had to think about that. So it's around about 84%. So we've got the vast majority of the tokens are already out, which again is positive to see. And we'll have a look at how the rest of the tokenomics are going to come. What I will say, as we did get a quick glimpse of it if you were fast when we were on the hub here, they do burn rounds. So 60% of all exchange fees are burnt. So although at the moment the tokens are still to come out, there is also a deflationary tokenomics within that, in which it will allow, the amount of tokens, that the emission rates to reduce over time. Okay, so let's just have a look at the fundraising round in a bit more detail so we can understand the breakdown of the tokens. And we can see when we scroll down here, a few of the other investors. I don't need to go into those. What I'm interested in is the tokenomics. And as I said, this was done in 2020, and we can kind of see that the ecosystem development is around about 36%. The team got 20, and then there's a private sale round for just over 16%, 10% for community growth, and then 17 for others. Now, okay, that's useful to know, but the really important thing of that is actually when are they getting released? What's the vesting periods? And thankfully, this website covers that. So let's just click on this now. And actually, what you'll be happy to hear is the vast majority of the tokens have been released already. So the ecosystem development is at 100% released. The team, of the 20% they were given, 16.7 has already been unlocked. Similarly with the private sale, community growth has been unlocked, Binance Launchpad has been unlocked, seed sales has been unlocked, but the advisors still hold some back too. And we can actually have a look at this vesting schedule. And this is key, because what we don't want is to be investing in a project in which has got a huge shelf of unlocks coming, diluting the supply and maybe driving the price down. But as you can see, when we sort of look to where we are, we've only got 2 batches left. We've got batch 6, which related to the team, and then batch 6 related to the advisors. So that's good. That's what we want to see. And so because we've got such a large amount of tokens already floating out there, there's very little risk that this is going to be dumped upon. But what can we use the INGEN or the ING token for? Well, good old-fashioned staking in this day and age is provided as a governance token. So, you can stake it up there. It'll give you an opportunity from a DAO voting capability, which we've talked about plenty of times before. Protocol fee value capture. So to keep injected deflationary, an on-chain buyback and burn auction is used to receive 60% of all fees, which we then talked about a little bit earlier on. And they're sort of publicized on that page all the time. So we're around 130 at the moment. Going back. It is proof of stake, so it's Tendermint-based proof of stake, which I suppose doesn't necessarily matter what that is at the moment. The point is that it is proof of stake. So by the blockchain utilizes the ING token to secure the network. And then the developer incentive. So that extra 40% of fees that wasn't burnt is used by users on the dApps to build on Injective directly and incentivize new new developers. And this goes on to say why this is bullish, and I kind of agree with most of them. The governance one, they say it's an obvious one. I mean, yeah, community-led projects are very popular, especially given the whole decentralized nature of it. We just got to be careful. We've seen on other projects how that can be manipulated by large wallets. So it's one of those ones for me, which it's a potential good if it's used right. Deflationary, absolutely. What we need to see is tokens that aren't just printing themselves into oblivion. That's what we're trying to get away from, the fiat model. So what we've got here is we've got a limited supply, which is also burning. So it will be deflationary once all the tokens are out. If supply is limited and most of it is circulating, then it's sound money. Well, most of this supply is out. And as of the date of this article, which was early December, there's around about 5.8% of the total supply has been burnt. Yes, we've got stake and rewards that are on there, and we've got that inflation rate of around about 10% this year. That's going to curve off over time, and then what we'll also see, is the burn mechanism start to take over, to take that into a deflationary model. Now, that only works with this bottom one, and that's about you need users on your chain or on your protocol, and we've already said that there's 380 odd million transactions that have taken place to date. And that's only going to grow, particularly when we get into the next bull run and the focus on DeFi, etc. And so, yeah, that's going to be very positive that it's going to be used, but also the fact that we get to use some of the exchange fees, trading fees, whatever you want to call them, to encourage other developers to build off the system. And I didn't really talk about it too much because I just went onto blockchains, but the ecosystem itself is huge. Got DApps, got tooling, got data, institutions, interoperability, stablecoin, validators, venture capitalists, wallets, and it is just endless with how much is there. And with this incentive for other people to build on it, I think that is a positive step to take it forward. Summary, I sort of share a lot of this. For me, my summary on sort of the tokenomics and the project itself, this is a very unique project within the DeFi space, within the decentralized exchange space. The fact that it is cross-chain margin capable, the fact that you can also trade Forex futures as well as your standard crypto derivatives, just utilizes the capability of just keeping a user that may be interested in all of that on your one platform, focusing on there. I think that's great. However, and there is a however, and we'll start the however off with a simple Google trend search, because Injective has blown up recently. And if you just have a look at this Injective trend, you can kind of see that it was just chugging along for a couple of months. The chart on the left-hand side is relative, but it was just sort of doing its own thing. And then suddenly out of nowhere, since the beginning of December, its fame has absolutely skyrocketed up. And I do personally think this is one of two things that have driven this. This is Cosmos airdrop farming, which has been a bit of a trend over this last month off the success that the Solana network has done with that. But also with all of the brilliant things that we've seen with Injective, they have announced that they're going to do a huge update, mainnet update, which would just make that even better. And I think for those that are interested within this, that is always going to pump the price up. Whether or not it's a sell the news event, we'll have to wait and see. But the fact that the team are going to launch a mainnet update is positive. Now, we haven't started to see this cool off, as I think some of the hype around airdrop farming has also cooled off, but it's also coincide with sort of the Christmas holidays. So we'll just want to see what this does over the next couple of weeks. So if we have a look on YouTube and we just put into the search engine Injective airdrop farming, I've set the filters to the last 30 days, and we can just see the sheer number of videos that people have done about airdrops on the Cosmos system or utilizing Injective within their titles. And this is a very popular thing to talk about. You're tying in two things that people love in at the moment, and that's airdrops and Injective itself. And then when you look at the price, and this is where we have been with the price. So I'm on the daily chart at the moment here, and you take it all the way back to 2020, beginning of 2023. We started off around about $2. You know, we're at $40 now. So it's what, 20x over this year. Has to be one of the best performing, you know, long-standing assets out there, easily outstripping Bitcoin and most of the other altcoins. I look at price action like this, and for me, I've got to be honest and say, this isn't something, as much as I love the project, this isn't something that I want to invest in at this particular moment in time. Its rise has just been so strong, even since, you know, we talked about things in October, and that October, we've gone from 7 to 40, you know, I mean, what have we done there? 5-6x in that time alone. And it's just on too much of an uptick. I want to see a healthy pullback. And if I can see a healthy pullback into maybe the $20 or something that kind of region, then maybe it's something I'd be interested in investing in. I don't own any DEX tokens at the moment because, as I said at the beginning of the video, it's not something that I've always been interested in, but I really think that this one could offer something quite unique. And then it does catch my eye with that. But it's just too hot at the moment for me to want to invest in it. The risk to reward just isn't really there. Where can I see this going? That's a difficult question. If it takes off, we know when the bull market comes in, the degens come in, they're going to want to utilize this kind of stuff. And I think that, you know, this is going to be a perfectly placed platform to do that. But I don't want to take the risk of aping at all-time highs when the narrative in the whole crypto market is overbought at the moment, and we're waiting for a healthy pullback. So this is one that I'm definitely interested in. It's going to remain on my watch list. I'm going to wait and see. But ideally for me, we haven't hit we've beautifully followed the 10 EMA for months now. We have rarely hit the 20, you know, since the beginning of this month. I'd want to see a pullback to at least the 50, and maybe even some of these vector candles back here around about $21. If it gets down to there, depending on how fast it gets down there, that could be something that I'm certainly interested at looking at. Okay, that's it from this video here. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got something out of it. It's a great project. It's one that I kind of wish that I knew about a lot sooner. I saw the hype of it, seeing the price going up, but actually when you dive into what it is, it really does tick a lot of boxes for me. But if you've got any questions on this or you want to understand a little bit more about it, just feel free to hit me up in Discord and we'll go from there. Cheers now.